संन्यासाश्रमधर्मविधात्रीं ब्रह्मज्ञानसुधारसदात्रीं सद्गुरुरूपधरां सर्वज्ञाम् अमृतानन्दमयीं प्रणमामि। स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर, जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर, जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर। A hearty good morning to everyone. Today we are doing the third video on Chidakasha Gita. We are not yet into the Gita, but we are talking about the great mystic, the great master, Swami Nityananda Paramahamsa, or otherwise called Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri. And we have already discussed about his birthplace, that is Calicut, near to Calicut, Pantala, I need to be exact. And one lawyer Ishwar Iyer was his foster father, and his mother, Ummamma, took a lot of pain to rear him up because she was just a chore woman. Ishwar Iyer and Nityananda went in tour of India, especially North India, and they separated at Kashi. Ishwar Iyer had to come back to Calicut and start his spiritual practices at home. Nityananda was continuing his spiritual practices in Kashi. We do not know who all he has met there in Kashi, because these mystics, they keep their spiritual pursuits very secret, and they don't boast about it, they don't speak too much about it. They give us certain hints about certain things that they've done, but we are just left to make a picture out of it, like a jigsaw puzzle. Most mystics do not reveal their spiritual power or reveal their spiritual practices, whatever they have done. Nityananda also had done a lot of spiritual practices which we don't know about, other than his utterances about Siddha Yoga and the way he traveled up north to Himalayas, like that. And it was time for Ishwar Iyer to depart. Then Ishwar Iyer thought, where is my Raman, my dear Raman? I want to see him. The very next morning, Raman, that is Nityananda, appeared before him and gave him moksha by his own very hand, and did everything for the funeral of Ishwar Iyer. And just before the funeral, just before his death, Ishwar Iyer offered a very great piece of land to Bhagavan Nityananda. Ishwar Iyer had other children, 3 of them, and they were also well off. They didn't have any opposition for giving Nityananda a great piece of land as an offering from Ishwar Iyer. Ishwar Iyer insisted on this, but Nityananda declined the offer very politely and said, I don't have any place in this world. Every place is my place. So, seeing Nityananda's detachment, Ishwar Iyer was at the time happy and sad because Nityananda didn't accept his loving favor. After some time, Ishwar Iyer left his body and his cremation was conducted. The funeral was conducted perfectly according to Hindu tradition, and Nityananda left home forever, for good. For some time, for some months, he roamed about in Koilandi. And let me tell you frankly, whoever he had touched at that time, whoever he had met and spoke to at that time, got high amount of spiritual energy, and most of them got realized. So when I say this, you might feel, oh, this is too much. You are exaggerating. It is not so. You should know the person that Nityananda was. He was an avadhuta of the highest class. Though he wore only a loin cloth, just as Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, Nityananda Bhagavan also wore just a loin cloth and roamed about. He was almost 6 feet 1 inch in height, very tall. And at that time when he came to Pantalayani from Kashi, he was very lean. After his rigorous tapas and pranayama, he was very lean. He was almost emaciated. He roamed about in Pantalayani. One such day, there was a fine incident, a very interesting incident happened. Children going to school saw a very tall man, young man, lying perfectly on a very weak branch of a banyan tree. So many people in that locality thronged to see this kind of a magical view, because nobody can even hang on the branch. It will definitely break. Such a weak, small branch of a banyan tree. This tall man was perfectly lying, just resembling the Ananta Shayanam of Bhagavan Sri Padmanabha. So many people got really wondered, what is this? This is the first time we are seeing something like this. And who is this man? And so many people started calling him Swami. Some people, definitely, of course, there are people like that. Some people thought that he's just mad. Some people thought he is a charlatan, a magician, and whatnot. The news spread like hot cake, hot fire, wildfire to the length and breadth of Koilandi and Calicut. People from different places started flocking to where Nityananda was at that time. And one particular thing about Nityananda is that all the time, almost all the time, he was surrounded by kids. Very innocent kids, school-going kids would walk behind him. And some people even had miraculous cure of their long diseases, long-standing kind of long perturbing diseases got cured just by the mere touch or wish or vibhudi given by Nityananda. So many people got cured. And there was a news parallel to this, that this man is an avatar, and some people started saying that he's an avatar, he's an avathuta, like that. Some people at the same time simultaneously started propagating that he's a charlatan, he's not to be believed, he's a magician. So many people started propagating that too. And Nityananda travelled to the south side from Koilandi to Calicut. And it was a common scene. Around noon, Bhagavan Nityananda would walk near that city area where there is a boys' school. Even now it is there, Government Model Higher Secondary School. Now it is government. At that time it was British rule, but the model school was there. From that school, children would come out for the noon break, and they would see Nityananda walking just in front of their schools. They would automatically be somehow attracted to Nityananda, and they started traveling behind him for long distances. And then what did Bhagavan do? Bhagavan used to take sweets from his loincloth. From inside his loincloth, he started taking sweets and distributed it to everyone surrounding. Be it be 100 people, be it 1,000 people, it didn't matter. Sweets started coming out from him. Lot of children were just enchanted by this man, and they started waiting for him for the noon break to come. And it was a common scene in Calicut city at that time. And I have been informed by some people whose grandfathers had met Nityananda and had the great fortune of having a candy from Nityananda. Almost at the same time, he was found near to the Thali Mahadeva temple, Thali Shiva temple in Calicut city. There is a big banyan tree. Now the archaeological survey and the forest department. The forest department is taking care of the tree. It is a very old tree. Nityananda Bhagavan used to lie down under the banyan tree. And he used to partake the food eaten by stray dogs from the dustbins and the waste bins. And so many people thought he is just mad or idiosyncratic, but he was not. And he used to go and stand in front of the Shiva temple outside, walk around it. He was seen at different places in Tali, where then one particular incident happened. Malayalam's first ever great novelist, we can say, Chandu Menon, Oyyarathu Chandu Menon, had the great fortune of serving Nityananda in Tali. At that time they were residing in Chalapuram near to Tali. And Oyyarathu Chandu Menon and his family took Nityananda to their house and fed him sumptuously. And whenever he got a time, Nityananda was served by Oyyarathu Chandu Menon, who wrote the great novel Indulekha. And his family was very fond of Bhagavan Nityananda. And I'll conclude today's talk with one fine mention by Bhagavan Nityananda later when he was in Ganeshpuri and busy with hundreds of devotees flocking to him. Devotees in Kerala, especially North Kerala, started missing him very much. And one such devotee from Kannur pleaded Bhagavan, please come back to North Kerala and settle down there in Kanyanad or Kannur or Calicut, wherever you wish. You were born in Kerala, and we Keralites are not lucky enough to serve you. We couldn't touch you, we couldn't press your feet. All these Maharashtra people are very lucky to serve you and have got an opportunity to serve you. And we are missing you very much. Bhagavan, come back to North Kerala. Then Bhagavan Nityananda went into an ecstatic mood and declared, there would appear a woman, and she will definitely give you solace. She will allow you to touch. She will allow you to touch her feet. She will be readily available to all the people, all the beings near her. Whoever comes to her will be consoled and will be given the highest spiritual good too. And he said in Hindi, Bhagavan Nityananda said, that lady, Yaham se acha. Nityananda Bhagavan never used to say, I and me and my. No. He said, she is far greater than this place. This place means Nityananda. And she is none other than Sadguru Shri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, popularly known as Amma, the great incarnation of Parashakti, the Divine Mother. With this we conclude today's session. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva.